Dr. Yemi Oke's perspective is just one. Law Weekly brings you another perspective, that of Mr. Ajibola Oluyede, who is counsel for the Bamanga Tuko faction of the party. He also played a prominent role when it all started with different factions in Ogun State. Okay, before we get into the court cases and the legal issues, I want you to help us make sense of this whole PDP crisis. There are some people who say that it has its roots in the Ogun State crisis. You were a lawyer in that case, but some people also say there's the unseen hand of former President Obasanjo. I don't know. These are the things that have been playing out in the media. What is the whole genesis of this PDP crisis?
Yeah, the root cause of the PDP quote-unquote crisis is the need for change in the PDP, in the way the PDP does things.
Who wants change now?
The members of the party want change.
Okay. Some members of the party.
Or you can say almost all the members of the party. Just the minority of people who have been in charge for years do not want things to change. All the members of the party who have not, been able to get it to the forefront because of imposition of candidates, lack of internal democracy, and all those other things, are the ones that are agitating for change. And yes, it is true that the agitation started from Ogun State, but it's now spreading all over the nation. You will notice that it spread from Ogun State to the southwest. Now from the southwest it's spreading to the national level. So essentially what people are agitating for is a change where the party has more internal democracy, where there's more transparency in its processes, where the leaders are really more concerned about the party than those who are in government. So I think that is basically what is going on.
What about the reports in the media that former President Obasanjo is behind the scene pulling the strings?
I would not be surprised, if that were the case, because I think those who want the party to remain the same are the ones who call themselves the new PDP. They don't want to see change. They want things to remain the same. And I would not be surprised if some of the former military leaders who thought they had an advantage in the party behind the scenes would be working at ensuring that the current changes that are taking place, what is commonly called transformation agenda, doesn't, take root. So I won't be surprised.
You filed a number of cases in court on behalf of the PDP. What essentially are these cases supposed to achieve?
Well, these cases all eventually dovetail into the processes, changing the processes within the party. For instance, if you look at the cases we had filed in the past in Ogun State, the governor dictated everything. When we came into it, the former governor, which was Benga Daniel, we came in and brought the majority back into power.
But how did the crisis in the PDP Ogun State faction snowball into this larger crisis that we're now seeing?
Well, it's because they faced the same situation, that they were facing in Ogun State at the southwest level. Now, after the courts had ruled, and even there were judgments of the Federal High Court saying that the Shoremi-led executive of the party in Ogun State was the appropriate organ to conduct congresses and elections for leaders of the party in Ogun State. When they had done so and complied with the order of the court, the leaders at the Southwest Zone refused to recognize it. And at the Southwest Congress then, it was the same typical imposition. Somebody just came and said, okay, this is going to be the new national vice chairman. This one is going to be our national secretary at the center. We are sending him to the center to become national secretary. This was going to be this and that. And that was it. So we fought against that and said this was wrong. From the pedestal that, first of all, we were deprived of an opportunity to participate when we had complied with an order of the court. So it was while this case was going on, but in their usual disregard for institutions, they thought the court is just doing its own thing. And they went ahead and conducted the Southwest Congress then, from which Oyinlola emerged as their candidate for the position of National Secretary. Oni emerged as National Vice Chairman of the party for the Southwest, and so on.
That was the one Bode Mustafa also emerged from.
And Bode Mustafa also emerged from that. So the court now said, no, you can't do that. That's with respect to the court.
The Lagos High Court.
The Federal High Court in Lagos.
Federal High Court in Lagos.
So that's disrespect, and nullified the Congress. So that is how it snowballed. Because by nullifying that Congress, that is from that, the fallout of the nullification of that Congress is that Oni lost his position as National Vice Chairman. Oyinlola lost his position as National Secretary. And that is what has happened so far.
Okay. But what's the position of the cases now?
The position of the cases is that most of the matters concerning Ogun State have been finally settled. The agitators in the Southwest Zone also are gradually running out of steam. The appeals they had filed against the judgments of the court have been withdrawn, and they have been dismissed by the Court of Appeal. So there's currently no challenge to the status quo.
Now, do you think that the courts are the best places to resolve this kind of political disputes? I ask this question because most of the judges that have been dismissed from the bench have been consumed by political cases like this. So is the court really the best place to resolve this kind of issues?
Yes.
So how do we protect our judges from political pressure of politicians?
To tell you the truth, I don't know of any case, any political case that... Pardon?
The Thomas Naron Osun election?
Yeah, those are election petition cases. They are completely different.
Cases.
Yes, in that sense, they are political cases. But
because
they are different.
About elections into offices,
no, but what we are doing here, what we've been doing, they're not, if you like, pure political cases. These are administrative law cases. There's a difference. When you go before the election petition tribunal, you are fighting a political case per se, in the sense that you are fighting for power, you're fighting for a position. But in this case, what we're trying to do is to ensure that the Constitution is complied with. We're ensuring that the regulator performs his role in accordance with the statute that established it and in accordance with the principles that have been set down by the laws of the land. So essentially they're not per se. And I think maybe that is where people have really missed it, because they've looked at them as these are pure political cases, but they're not. And that's why they have not been able to get the courts to agree with them, because they want the court to agree on the basis of that this is a political case. And the court is saying clearly that, look, what these guys are asking me is to ensure that the regulator performs his role. So in that sense, they're not pure political. And I don't know of any case like that has consumed any judge. I don't know of any such case that's consumed any judge.
Well, you might make a distinction and say those were election petition cases, but there are some people who wouldn't agree. As far as they're concerned, they're all political cases. The case of Justice Salami is still there. Thomas Naron, all those cases are all still political cases as well.
Yeah, you've got to understand that all those issues arose from election petition cases. Even the Justice Salami issue that you're talking about. It's all about how...
what is at stake here is positions into office.
Yeah.
Some people are aggrieved. Some factions are carried along and not carried along. It's still about position. It's still about power. It's the whole thing.
I agree with you that...
Maybe election petition is the tail end of it, but this is how it starts.
Well, in a sense, yes. But now, let me even go to the question that you asked. The question you asked was, is the court the best place for deciding?
I mean, these are some of the things that some
these
people
kind
have
of
shown
questions.
up,
The only flavor that came into your question, which I rejected outright, was the suggestion by you that these political cases have consumed judges, which I disagree with. They have not. This kind of cases, I'm not talking about election petition cases where there have been proven cases of misconduct, but with regard to the kind of matters we have brought before the court, I don't know of any such case that has consumed any judge. Now, to the point whether the courts are the appropriate fora or forum for deciding the kind of questions that have been presented to them, yes, the courts are. You've got to understand that the courts themselves are vital institutions in the survival of our democratic experiment. Now, if you leave it to politicians to deal with matters themselves, you yourself see what the kind of things that happen. You find politicians will bring in ethnic sentiments, they will bring in religious sentiments, they will not look at the law. They will not care about what is proper or what is appropriate or what is legal or what is legitimate. They don't care. So long any is like war for them. Now, if in that kind of environment, if you do not have an impartial institution that can decide what is proper, what is lawful, what is appropriate, then you're going to have chaos. And the court is the only institution in a democratic setting that can do that. And that is why at the end of the day, when you have tried your political solutions and they have failed, you've got to come back to the court. Then the court can look at the legal issues involved and decide them. And when the court has decided the legal issues involved, it makes it easier for the politicians now to settle their problems. You know, obviously you cannot bring a political question to the court for the court to decide a political question. The court cannot decide a political question. The court can only decide a legal question. You know, so, and that is why even the courts themselves have decided that certain cases will not be entertained by the courts. Any matter that is an internal affair of a political party, in the sense that it does not raise legal issues, the courts will not entertain it at all. And many of those cases have been struck out by the courts on preliminary objections. So to say that the courts are being unnecessarily involved is inaccurate.
That's our program for today. Hopefully this helps you understand better the PDP crisis, as a lot more issues will play out in the courts in the days ahead. If you have questions or comments, do get in touch via Facebook, email or Twitter. I'm Shola Shoyeli. Thank you for watching.